Hello everyone, I am Nagraj Chaudapur, Assistant Professor, BGMIT, Mudhol. So in the lecture number 4, Professor Madhav Rao has given the clear definition about resolution of force. Right, in this lecture number 5, we'll once again go through the resolution of force and we'll solve some simple numerical problems associated with the resolution of force considering their sign conventions. And let us also look into the composition of force and resultant of force. Let us go through what is the definition of composition of force and so what is the definition of the resultant force for a system of force. So let us start with defining resolution of force once again. Right, resolution of force, it is a method or technique of finding the component of force along their mutually perpendicular directions. Right, so we can see that the force is acting at a object here. Right, so as we apply a force, the body starts moving from one point to other point in the direction of applied force. Right, if I apply a force on a body in the horizontal direction, right, the body will undergo displacement in x direction. Right, similarly, if I apply a force on a body which is having mass m in y direction, the body will undergo displacement in y direction. Right, so in the same way, if I apply a force in some inclined direction, that inclination may be either with respect to y-axis or x-axis. Right, so that time the body will undergo displacement or it will travel some distance in the direction of applied force. Right, in that process the body will undergo x displacement as well as y displacement. Right, the amount of force, the magnitude of force which is responsible for its x displacement as well as its y displacement, so that is what we have to find out. Right, so let us write in small line diagram. Right, so let us consider each body as a small particle. Right, in the idealization of mechanics, we have said that each and every object will be considered as a small particle irrespective of its size or shape. Right, so in this small particle, we are applying a force F. Right, so in that process, the particle will shift from point O to point A here. Right, during this process, the particle will undergo X displacement as well as Y displacement. The particle will undergo both X displacement as well as Y displacement. The component of force which is responsible for x displacement as well as y displacement, we have to find out. Right, in order to find out that, let us consider a triangle OAB. Let us consider triangle OAB. Right, in this triangle, so let us mark the angle of inclination for a force is theta. So this is the line of action of force, and this force is making angle of inclination as theta with respect to x-axis. Let us find out the component of force along their mutually perpendicular directions. Let us consider rectangular coordinates. So this is x-axis and so this is y-axis, right, which are mutually perpendicular to each other. Right, now the force F is applied at point O. So now the body is shifting from point O to point A. Now we have to find out the component of force along x direction and the component of force along y direction. So that will be that we can call as Fx and Fy. Now in order to find out what is the magnitude of Fx and in order to calculate what is the magnitude of Fy, so let us write a small trigonometrical equations and try to write a equation for Fx and Fy. Right. So here we have considered triangle OAB. So this is hypotenuse side and this will be opposite side to the angle theta, and this will be the adjacent side. Right, now with this triangle OAB, we can write the trigonometry function sin theta is equal to Fy by F, where Fy is opposite side and F is the hypotenuse side. Right, so this is hypotenuse side F. Right, so opposite by hypotenuse, sin theta is equal to opposite by hypotenuse, so that we can write, so Fy is equal to F sin theta. Similarly, we can write cos theta is equal to adjacent by hypotenuse, right? Where adjacent side we have the fx, and in the hypotenuse side we have f, right? So that we can write fx is equal to f cos theta. So here fx indicates horizontal component of force f along x direction. Similarly, fy indicates vertical component of the force along y direction. Vertical component of force F along y direction. So these are the x component and y component of force F, which is having angle of inclination theta with respect to x axis. So these formulas fx is equal to f cos theta and fy is equal to f sin theta are applicable when you are considering the angle of inclination with respect to x axis only, right? So we can write here theta is angle of inclination of force F with respect to x axis only, right? These are the two formulas which are applicable when theta is with respect to x axis only. Similarly, so when the theta is with respect to y axis, right? If the theta is given, theta is with respect to y axis, this is the force F which is applied at a particle which is at point O. The particle will shift to point A. So in this process, it will undergo x displacement as well as it will undergo y displacement. Right now, the angle of inclination is given with respect to y-axis. So this is the theta we are considering for resolution of force. As we know, resolution of force is nothing but it is a technique of finding the components of force along their mutually perpendicular directions. Right now, the force is acting at this point. Let us find out their components along x-axis and y-axis, which are mutually perpendicular to each other. And the angle of inclination theta is given with respect to y-axis. Right. So, angle of inclination for force F is with respect to y-axis. Right. So, similarly, we can write. So here, this is the opposite side. This will be hypotenuse side, and this will be adjacent side, right? So with this we can write sin theta is equal to opposite by hypotenuse, right? So in this opposite side we have horizontal component of force x, and in the hypotenuse side we have the force F, right? With this we can write sin theta is equal to fx by f. Similarly, we can write cos theta is equal to adjacent by hypotenuse, right? Adjacent side we have fy, and in the hypotenuse side we have f. Similarly, we can write cos theta is equal to fy by f, right? So that our equation will become fx is equal to f sin theta and fy is equal to f cos theta. So you can see that. So we can make some observation here. So when angle of theta is with respect to y-axis, the formula will get interchanged, right? So when we consider angle with respect to x-axis, fy is f sin theta and fx is f cos theta. Similarly, if we consider angle of inclination with respect to y-axis, fy is f cos theta and fx is f sin theta. So these are the change in the uh, trigonometry functions we have to observe for fx and fy, right? So one more thing we have to discuss here is sign conventions, right? So when the force are resolved, their component may be acting either in the rightwards or leftwards, or in the upwards or downward directions, right? So we can make some sign conventions here, right? So if the force is acting rightwards, it will be taken as positive, and if the force is acting leftwards, it will be taken as negative. Similarly, if the force is acting upwards, it will be taken as positive, and if the force is acting downwards, it will be taken as negative, right? So it is left to the learner, right? It can be interchanged also, right? So whatever the way which is easier for you, that can be assumed. Either you can take rightward force as negative and leftward force as positive. Similarly, upward force can be taken as negative, as well as downward force can be taken as positive also, right? So in order to make our problems easier or simplifier, so we'll be considering all rightward force will be taken as positive, all leftward force will be taken as negative. Similarly, all components along upwards will be taken as positive. Similarly, all downward components will be taken as negative. So with this brief introduction, we'll go to the some simple problems, right? So as we have seen in the lecture number 4, so here also we'll consider some uh, typical problems, right? So consider a force F which is inclined at angle 30 degree with respect to x-axis, right? So determine the x component as well as y component of the force 10 kilonewton. Or the question may be like this also: resolve the force shown in the figure, right? So to resolve this force, so right, so the force 10 kilonewton is inclined at angle 30 degree with respect to x-axis, right? So here we can resolve by projecting this force to x-axis, right? We can project this force to x-axis like this, right? So at that time, this arrow head will come to x-axis and it will be traveling in rightwards, right? So that is what we have seen here. So this is component of the force which is acting rightwards. Similarly, in order to get the y component, project this force to y-axis, right? So the arrow will be acting upwards, right? So that is why the y component of force is acting upwards. Now in order to resolve this force along their mutually perpendicular directions, that is in x-axis and in y-axis, right? We can write the equation f cos theta and fy is equal to f sin theta, right? So here, so always we are considering the angle with respect to x-axis in order to avoid confusion, right? In order to make our problem simplifier or in order to avoid confusion, right? So we'll be considering always angle with respect to x-axis only, so that we can use fx is equal to f cos theta and we can use fy is equal to f sin theta, right? So taking that into consideration, we can resolve this 10 kilonewton force into its x component and y component, right? We can write fx is equal to f cos theta, where f is 10 and cos theta is with respect to x-axis, that is 30 degree, right? Since it is acting rightwards, it will be taken as positive. Similarly, y component, so it will be equal to f sin theta. Since it is acting upwards, it will be taken as positive, right? So f is 10, theta is with respect to x-axis 30 degree, f sin theta. So it can be written as fx is equal to 0.86 8.66 kilonewton. Similarly, Fy is equal to 5 kilonewton. Both are positive. Similarly, you can consider here if the force is acting in this direction, right? It can be projected into its x-axis and it can be projected into its y-axis, and the components can be seen as acting leftwards and the y component will be acting upwards, right? Since the x component is acting leftwards, it will be taken as negative. So 10 cos 30, it is 8.66 minus negative sign indicates it is acting leftwards. Similarly, we can consider y component which is acting upwards. It is 10 sin 30, so the answer will be equal to 5 kilonewton. Similarly, in other problems, we can consider the force, same force in third quadrant, right? So 10 kilonewton, making angle of inclination with respect to x-axis is 30 degree, right? So considering these components, it will be acting leftwards and it will be acting downwards, right? So since components are acting leftwards and downwards, both will be taken as negative. So answers are similar to the previous values. So 8.66 and 5, since both components are acting leftwards and downwards, right? X component is acting leftwards, y component is acting downwards, it will be taken as negative as per these sign conventions. Similarly, if I take this force, so this is 10 kilonewton acting in fourth quadrant with respect to angle 30 degree with respect to x-axis, right? If I project this force to x-axis, so this component of force will be acting rightwards, right? Similarly, if I project this force to y-axis, it will be acting downwards, right? So that these are the components which are shown. Since x component is acting rightwards, it will be taken as positive, and y component will be acting leftwards, y component is acting downwards, it will be taken as negative. Fx is equal to f cos theta, positive, since it is acting rightwards. Fy is equal to f sin theta, so since it is acting downwards, it will be taken as negative. Similar to that, so there are few more examples we can see here. If the force is acting towards the point, right? The arrowhead shows the force is acting towards the point. So that time also you have to project force into x-axis. Look at the arrowhead. Arrowhead will be acting leftwards. Similarly, so y component of axis, y component of the force is acting downwards, right? One x component is acting leftwards, taken as negative. Y component is acting downwards, it is also taken as negative. Fx is equal to f cos theta and Fy is equal to f sin theta with the regular formulas. So we can write the fx x component of the force is minus 10 cos 30. The answer will become minus 8.66. Similarly, minus 10 sin 30, it is also minus 5 kilonewton, right? So with a few more examples, we can understand their x component and y component. If the force is acting in this direction, it can be projected into its x-axis. So you can see that arrowhead is acting rightwards. Similarly, so 10 kilonewton can be projected into y-axis, right? So that y component is acting downwards, right? So fx is equal to 8.66 positive since x component is acting rightwards. Similarly, y component is acting downwards, it can be taken as negative. So similarly here, if the force is acting towards the point, it can be projected to its x-axis. So arrow shows that it is acting rightwards. So it is taken as positive. If the arrow is acting upwards for this component, it is taken as positive. Y component of the force is positive. Similarly in this problem, so here this is x-axis and y-axis. The force is acting towards the point. Angle of inclination is 30 degree. Right? Project this force to x-axis. So the x-axis shows that the force is acting leftwards. X component of the force is acting leftwards, and y component of the force is acting upwards. So leftwards, negative, upwards, positive. So these are the resolved component of force shown in the figure. So overall, we have discussed what is resolution of force and the sign conventions. Resolution of force is nothing but it is a method or technique of finding the component of force along their mutually perpendicular directions. So with this resolution of force, we can go ahead with the next topic, that is composition of force. Right? So when number of force are acting, right? If one force is acting, we can just say a force is acting. Right? If more than one or two force are acting at a point, right? Like this, right? So all these force together will be called as a system of force. Right? More than one force is acting at a more than one force are acting at a single point, right? You can see here force F1, F2, F3, F4. Four forces are acting, so all these forces together will be called as a system of force, right? So this system of force can be resolved into a single force, so that force will be called as the resultant force. So now let us define what is composition of force and what is resultant of force. Composition of force is nothing but it is defined as a it is a method or technique of finding or determining the resultant force of a system of force. As we have defined, system of force is nothing but if more than one or two force are acting at a point, all those force will be collectively called as a system of force, right? So all those system of force can be reduced to a single force, so that single force will be called as resultant force. Similarly, the method or technique of identifying that resultant force will be called as composition of force. So this is the definition of composition of force, right? So let us see what is this resultant force in detail, right? So as I said, if more than one force are acting at a point, so collectively all this will be called as system of force, right? So all these force F1, F2, F3, F4 can be reduced or can be represented as a single force. So that single force will produce the same effect as these force were producing. That single force will be called as resultant force, right? We can see the definition here. Resultant force is one single force which is replacing as well as it is representing the effect produced by all other force acting in a system of force, right? So both in magnitude and direction, that single force will be called as resultant force. So you can see in the diagram where R is the resultant force, it will represent the force where R represents the resultant force, which will replace or represents the effect produced by system of force. So in this system of force, there are number of force like F1, F2, F3, F4. But all these force can be reduced or can be represented by a single force. That single force will be called as resultant force, both in magnitude and direction. There are few methods to identify this resultant force, right? So those methods are like this. First one is triangular law of forces, polygon law of forces, and parallelogram law of forces, right? So these two are graphical methods, and this is the one analytical method, right? So let us go through the definition of triangular law of forces and polygon law of forces in this lecture. So in the next lecture we can go ahead with the statement and proof for the parallelogram law of forces, right? So let us go ahead with the triangular law of forces, right? What it says, it says if two forces are acting at a point simultaneously, right? Let us consider two forces which are acting at a point simultaneously and at point A, right? If these two forces can be represented as a two sides of a triangle taken in order, the remaining closing side represent the resultant force in opposite order. That is what the triangular law of forces says, right? So what it says, if two forces F1 and F2 are acting at a point simultaneously, those two forces can be represented as two sides of a triangle taken in order. That means the head of the force is attached with the tail of another force which is acting at the ahead, right? Which is at the front, right? Similarly, if these two forces can be represented as sides of triangle taken in order, the remaining closing side represents the resultant force. So this is what the triangular law of forces says, right? It says that if two forces acting at a point and representing the two sides of a triangle taken in order, the remaining side or closing side of a triangle represent the resultant force both in magnitude and direction. So this is what we can define in the triangular law of forces. Similarly, we can define, so what is polygon law of forces, that if more than two forces or if number of forces are acting at a point simultaneously, like this what you have seen in the resolution of force, like this what you have seen here, if more than two forces are acting at a point. Similarly here, F1, F2, F3, F4, there may be one more force, F5, right? If like this more forces are acting, two or more forces are acting, and those number of force can be represented as a sides of a polygon. If those forces can be represented as a sides of a polygon, the remaining closing side represents the resultant force both in magnitude and direction. So this is what the polygon law of forces says, right? So what it says, if more than two forces or number of forces are acting at a point simultaneously, like this we can see number of forces F1, F2, F3, F4, there may be one more force F5 here, right? If those number of forces are acting at a point, so all those forces can be represented as a sides of a polygon taken in order, that is head of each force is attached with the tail of front force, right? Similarly, head of this force is attached to the tail of front force, right? Taken in order, the remaining closing side represent the resultant force in opposite order. So that is what the polygon law of forces. So this is what we are trying to discuss in this lecture number 5. In the lecture number 6, let us go ahead with the definition of parallelogram law of forces and its derivation. So we can derive the equation for uh, to calculate the magnitude of resultant force. We'll see in the next class.